Hey yo, we're back with our next episode of our Sryth playthrough. I was having issues. Maybe my game didn't save, but there were some quests that I did already that were still here. So I found that interesting. What I'm gonna do is do my old man thing here at the Goblin Claw Inn, because it's a daily thing for 11 days, and I haven't done it for 11 days yet. As you probably know if you're watching this actual series, I'm not gonna reread it because same thing happens every time. But this guy's getting more dangerous. But we got it. But we got a few more times with that. But if I take a seat in the cone room, it's Beggar's Delve. I don't think I've done this one yet, so I'm gonna go ahead with this one. So, hey, thanks so much for hanging out and joining me. Let's just get right into it, okay? Let's go. Beggar's Delve. The man seated across from you takes a sip from his nearly full flagon and repeats what he said only a few moments ago. You listen with growing interest as the wheelwright from Bunbury again relates to you the somewhat fantastic tale told to him by a traveller early this afternoon, a story involving a bandit, goblins, and a nearby cave. The wheelwright, Jurid, has bushy brown beard flecked with the froth of a goblin claw's best ale, tells you about a cave known as Beggar's Delve, in the depths of which is said to lie a large quantity of gold. See, we've read this. What did I mean? Near the Heart's Hill. But we never went over there, so let's go ahead and leave the inn. Go to Beggar's Delve. You're standing in the forest several miles west of the Goblin Claw Inn before the mouth of the cave is known as Beggar's Delve. According to what you've been told, a large quantity of gold has long been hidden in the cave by a bandit. A foul smell drifts out of the cave's dark, gaping maw. Yeah, let's enter. What's going on in here? Not much. Apparently, night again sounds of things unseen moving in the gloom reach your ears as you cautiously explore the cave, slithering green slime. I feel like I've been in here before. Maybe not. Writhing green slime. Gross. But let's just cover every aspect of this. Rippling gray slime. What does that mean? Revolting gurgling sound. There's the inn. The cave tunnel ends abruptly at the jagged brink of a yawning fissure that spans the entire breadth of the passage. The passage continues east on the upper side of the perilous chasm, which you estimate is only 10 feet wide. Yeah, I'm gonna think gated. For several moments you stand staring across the perilous divide. Your desire to explore the corridors of the chasm is tempered by the realization of extreme danger involved in attempting to cross a fathomless fissure. I'm use gating. You channel your power of gating and swirling back portal slightly opens to your right. Without a second thought, you step into the magical gate and emerge on a second later from the second point on the far side of the fissure. And as the portal closes, you so sharply 24 times completely dangerous traverse. Except it wasn't dangerous for me because, gating. Having made it safely across the chasm, you're about to continue along the cave tunnel when you suddenly spot a large wooden structure resting up against a nearby wall. Close examination of the curious object reveals it. Am I not in camera here? Reveals it. This way, please, there you go. Reveals it to be. Now we're a little too far this way. Just a little bit, yeah. Okay, reveals it. Whatever. To be a makeshift bridge constructed out of oaken planks that are bound together by thick, ragged lengths of rope. After closely inspecting the bridge and determining it to be relatively good repair, you drag it over to the edge of the fissure, and after several minutes of difficult wrangling, you manage to set it in place across the perilous gap. So there was a bridge on this side. The cave tunnel ends abruptly at the foot of the makeshift bridge. The passage continues west. Let's go east. And then what? Suddenly, a sickening gurgling sound suddenly fills the passage, echoing along the corridor's glistening walls as a massive blob of grey slime surges out of the gloom, concealing the edge into the tunnel. The fearless predator, intending to devour anything living that crosses his path, swiftly slithers towards you. Massive grey slime. Gross. Step back from the bubbling puddle of grey slime and wipe the tattered remains of the slain creature that has found their way into your attire. After taking a few moments to recover from the fight, you cautiously approach the end of the tunnel where your invading light reveals a sight that serves to quicken your pulse. You're standing at the eastern end of the cave tunnel. Only a thin puddle of greyish liquid in the centre of the corridor remains to mark the spot where the massive grey slime perished at your hands. In a large wooden chest, its dark timbers, soft and white, stand against the wall. Thievery. You carefully examine the chest, attempting to determine its ancient box. If the ancient box is trapped, after nearly a minute you come to the conclusion that the chest is trapped nor locked. As you hold open the chest lid and begin to lift the rotted wood crumbles in your hand, in a matter of seconds the lid is little more than a soggy pile of timber shards lying on top of a heap of gold that fills the chest. Hey! Wow! You properly take possession of the large quantity of gold that fills the rotted chest. Beneath the gold you discover a pair of plate gauntlets and a magnificent plate helm. With a second thought you reach in and take both the helm and the gauntlets. After making certain nothing else is lying in the bottom of the chest, you turn and prepare to make your way out of the cave. Confidently, you've just acquired the legendary treasure of Beggar's Delve. You standing on the eastern end of the cave tunnel, only a thin... Oh, that's it. Right, that's it. Right. And then, of course, things indeed. There's still grey slime in here, but we've got what we come for. I was thinking of working on the other proving grounds as well, instead of just randomly traveling, you know. So I think that I will do that. We can start with proving grounds 1 and move along from there, right? Right. Which was the way out here? That wasn't it? Okay, is it this one? Let's leave. You emerge from the cave and step into the thicket of fragrant sunlit forest. After having spent a considerable amount of time exploring the dark, bent patches of Beggar's Delve, the soft sounds of woodland surrounding seemed particularly pleasant. Realizing that the bright, clear afternoon will soon enough give way to the onset of dusk, you set off for the Goblin Claw Inn, eager to make your way out of the wilds before then. Suddenly, the unmistaken pattern of footfalls landing on the leaf-covered ground is all it takes for you to realize you're not alone. You spin in the direction of the unexpected sound and find a thin, gaunt-faced man in leather armor moving stealthily towards you. The instant your eyes meet, the stranger straighten up and bows, never once averting his steady gaze. You weren't by chance just in that cave, were you? He asked, placing his hand on his hip, glancing about at the surrounding forest. The dagger's tucked in his belt at his right side, and the short sword dangles at its sheath to its left. What do we want to tell him? You channel your powers of divination immediately with effect, and a faint aura of evil surrounding the man. You sense that his intention is to deceive you or perhaps do you great harm. Yeah, what I'm doing is none of your business. The man's taken back by your brazen reply, but quickly regains his composure, face now spreads across his thin and shaven face. You needn't be so unfriendly, he says, smirking. I'm really interested in the treasure set to lie in that cave. I've tried to find it before, but it's not an easy thing to reach. That was it. I say you managed to claim it. You strike me as the sort of woman who couldn't be content to leave behind such a prize. At the corner of your eye, you spot a man's right hand edging toward the hilt of his sword. Attack! You lunge at the man, attempts to engage him before he can draw a weapon, but he proves to be far more agile mark than you had anticipated. With a nimble twist, he dodges your attack and leaps back, his arms thrust skyward and his hands bathed in a pale, pulsing blue light. I'm not stupid enough to fight fair against the likes of you, he says as the phantasmal likeness of 2 armored goblin warriors suddenly appear at his side. Cut him down! You mean her. The translucent goblins, their clawed hands gripping the high-wrapped haft of the 2 nice little axes, rush silently forward, their ghostly weapons cutting their wide out before them. The phantasmal goblins vanish in a shimmering pale of blue sparkles. Your magic wielding assailants, apparently having thought better than waylaying you, turns and flees, rushes in the forest at breakneck pace. With no desire to pursue the man, you remain where you are, but stay vigilant. Your eyes scour the surrounding forest for any sign that might serve to indicate his return. After several long minutes, finding that he's gone, you quickly set off, eager to make your way out of the forest. You'll swiftly find your way to the forest and head back to Goblin Claw Inn. Night has already fallen when you step through the doors of the dilapidated inn only to once again be immersed in the rocky stain of the infamous establishment stormed common room. There's no sign to be had of Jared, the wheelwright from Brando, who told you about beggars. Dell, but his absence does little to diminish the sense of relief you return to the inn has served you to provide. You take a seat near the fire and are soon enjoying the camaraderie of your fellow patrons. As night slowly wears on and the crowd packed into the inn begins to thin out, you find yourself nodding off in your chair, your legs stretched out toward the fire's glow embers and your thoughts drifting back and forth between the damp, dark, eerie silence of Beggar's Delve and the boisterous, though mostly cheerful confines of the notorious South-Trod Glen. El Den. Oh, that rhymes. Okay, I mean, I guess we'll say what's up. Then Brack looks up to you near his table and smiles, though you sense he's seemingly friendly, grin, and calculated gesture rather than a genuine reaction to your approach. He's my capable apprentice, he announces with a laugh and tossing up Jess. Allison, come have a seat and I'll fetch you some ale. Oh, no, I'm good. This is the guy who just has stuff. Alright, we're good here. You realize you should have once set out for Trithik and seek out the person mentioned in the note found by Bridlewin, person who by the name Detherrin. I mean, if that's what we're supposed to be doing, sure. What I want to do is stop at my house, though. Which I guess is in southern, northern, at least, southeast, eastern, northwest, western, southwest. I can't remember where my house is. I feel like it's outside Tolinas. Anyway, I'm supposed to be going to Trithik, which is western? Yes. Is it Trithik? Over somewhere in the city, you'll find the person named Detherrin and shed some light on the strange circumstances that have brought you here. So I'm going to save. And then... where am I supposed to find this guy? Let's go to the windowless building. See if we can get some experience. 29. Wow, that's bad. Okay, it's better than 0. Oh, the city. You suddenly spot a man in a dark blue cloak milling about nearby, although you can't be certain he appears to be watching you. As you approach the man, he retreats several steps and motions you to step closer. After making certain that no one else is lurking about nearby, you move over to him and ask what he wants. A wrinkled face peers out at you from beneath the folds of a broad hood. Travel to the southern reaches of the kingdom, he says in low raspy voice. There, in the valley of pain, you'll find the copperwood. Idreria has returned, and her strength grows with each day that passes. But heroes who've taken the fight to her could be someone like you, Alison, to boast of beleaguered ranks. You ask the man why he was watching you, and how he knows your name, and it immediately becomes agitated. Don't waste your time. Let's chop at a copper, wood, and Thanebelt and join the fight. With that, he turns his steps from you and once again set off on the way. Southwest Duntiza. So that's not the guy I'm looking for. The water blaze, a deep triangular basin, sets into the precise center of the small courtyard. To the northeast, a blank square as mysterious as beautiful. Sparkling silver waters for the pool, and two within each of its embraced rim. Standing in its edge and peering down in the well, you can see the metallic glint of countless swords that rest at the bottom of the glittering deep. Many adventurers believe that tossing their sword will bring them luck in combat and wielding a slashing weapon. I don't have a sword on me anyway. Congratulations to lucky winner. Okay. That tossing a sword gives it keep going. Numerous buildings flank Braid Square. Let's go to the alehouse. As far as alehouses in Trithik go, the antics that go on at Griffin's Ledge are considered quite mild. The guard tower sitting on the steps on the front door is much the reason for the established social reputation. The alehouse is crowded and loud, full of merry-making locals and many mercenaries, whose paymasters have come into the service of Thane Pyrod. As you make your way across the bustling ale floor, you're quick to spot an obviously agitated young man seated alone in the bench that runs the entire length of the room's east wall. Your gaze frequently doubts. The young man, his eyes partially obscured by his long tangled locks of dark hair, seemed to become more agitated as you approach. Hoping with his confidence and to discover the reason for his unease, you offer him a friendly greeting as you sit down next to him on the bench. He mumbles something in response, and then, in a clear voice, asks if you've ever been in the Fang Ridge. I can't tell you who I am, he stammers. His eyes now fixed on the floor. I know who you are, though, and I know what I'm about to tell you will likely be of great interest to you. Do not mistake my intentions, for I want nothing in return for which I will impart to you. You must go to Fang Ridge, just south of here, and you must search the forest. The rest of why he's telling you this and what you can expect to find the forest near Fang Ridge. At foot opening the forest floor stairs lead down into the earth. You'll find something in that place, something that must not fall into the possession of others who are already seeking it, something you must protect at any cost. You immediately question the young man, asking how it is he's come to this information and why he has revealed it to you. He responds by leaning to his feet and momentarily fixture of the frightened look. I'm in danger, he says fatly. They've already come for us, and yet I do not understand what it is my line has been obligated to hide to guard all of these years, but I do know that I cannot live another moment in terror. My father is dead and my elder brothers have disappeared. I know that I was told to find you, and that you must now find what lies in hidden in the forest. I must go. Before you ask me anything else, the man turns and hastily makes his way to the alehouse. Puzzled by the strange encounter with the frightening man, you vow to explore the forest near Fang Ridge as soon as you can. After taking several moments, you cast your gaze about the crowded interior of the alehouse, making certain no one seems to have taken any undue interest in your recent conversation. You rise from the bench and make your way back across the room. Let's get some to drink. Sure. The thick ale, although somewhat bitter, is every bit worth the 1 gold token paid for it. As you drink your ale, you overhear a conversation between you, two men and a woman right behind you. They seem to be discussing a variety of local issues. The woman laughs and shakes her head in disagreement with one of the men she's talking to. You can question the Thane all you want to, she says, smiling. He's already brought orders to the city. A heavy hand was needed to put the vermin in order. At least they fear his authority, which is more than I can say for anyone who ever tried to clean up this mess. When you finish your ale, you move off elsewhere into the... Okay. Let's wander. You overhear the following from someone nearby. I'm tired of hearing about all these adventurers. Are they but a bunch of layabouts with not better to do than pretend to be the next talents? While the rest of us toil away. One above your house for a small while longer before you realise you're back where you started. Okay. Take us to the back room. What's back here? The back of Griffin's Ledge is something more akin to a parlour than an alehouse. A handful of paler drinking patrons sit about the wooden benches discussing topics of the day, occasionally becoming annoyed with the noise that filters in from the common room. An unkempt man, his grimy, threadbare attire dishevelled in every possible sense, continues to glance in your direction. Immediately says he's signaling for you to approach. The unkempt man is grimy, mismatched attire only complimented by his exaggerated grin, greets you warmly and is quick to say that he's honoured to have made your acquaintance. Not every day that I find myself standing before a lady of your stature, he says, his grin widening. I'd be willing to wager that I got something you'll take a fancy to. Now wait, hear me out, please. I won't take but a moment of your time. You've got just a moment, haven't you? Yeah. The slovenly man briskly rubs his hands together. He grins as he reaches into a pocket sewn inside of his stained tunic and produces a furled piece of paper. He shakes the paper in front of his face and asks if you know what it is. You shake your head and he nods and glances from side to side before speaking in a hushed tone. It's a map, he whispered. Yes, a map, not just any map, mind. This map leads to a great treasure, so I've stolen, so I believe. What sort of treasure, I don't know, but I can tell you this, the man who sold it to me, not the sort of fellow who would use the words great treasure unless he meant them, and paid a pretty sum for it, I did. Still, the nightmares about the lump I handed over for it, but that's not your concern, of course. You see, I figured to go after the treasure myself, but well, as I came to find out, I'm not quite the type for that sort of thing. Well, just women moves past, and the man addressing him quickly straightening himself up, acknowledged her with a polite but exaggerated bow, and then with a well-practiced sweep of his hand. When she is gone, he dismisses her with a roll of his eyes, and turns back to you. As I said, I'm no adventurer. Well, not anymore, that is. Bad running with a horntail, you must know. 2 horntails, to be exact. 2 large horntails, very large. If we're being completely honest about it, large and angry, truth be told. Hungry too. Well, anyhow, have fun, Matt. Interested in the treasure map? Yeah, I'm interested. The unkept man rubs his hands together further and gleams a frail piece of paper he's clutching. He leans closer and waits. Might be just a bit of danger involved in whenever this old Matt leaves, he says smirking. Don't think that'd be too upsetting, would it? He bursts into an obnoxious fit of laughter that swiftly devolves into a gruesome cough, which, after nearly a minute, abruptly ceases. Now sweating, he strokes his chin, appearing to contemplate something of importance. Because of who you are and things of that nature, he says, lingering on his last word, I'm prepared to hand over this little gem for, I don't think it doesn't pay me, let's say 50 adventurer tokens. Okay. You have got a few of those here and there, haven't you? I mean, I'd love to see you. I'd have to let you see it first. That would give the whole thing away, wouldn't it? Well, how about it? Sure. The man who suddenly introduces himself as Orth accepts your adventurer tokens and hands you the folded piece of paper. You promptly unfold the wrinkled sheet and immediately dismayed to discover that it's empty. Hold on now, said Orth, several beads of sweat breaking out in his forehead. He sat closer to examine the unfolded sheet. Got to do like this and see it proper. There, how's that? Orth takes the map and stretches the worn paper tight between his hands, reducing the number of wrinkles and fitting the sheet. You watch in amazement as moments later a detailed map, written in red and black, takes form on the worn page. Bit of magic about it, he says, pocketing the adventure tokens you gave him and handing you back the map. Keep it taut and you'll point away. Somewhere near Bang Ridge, by the looks of it. Nice and convenient, just a skip and a tour from here. Well then, there's nothing else. I'll need to be on my way. Well, thanks you, meets you in the shoulder post and wishes you luck. If I scared any more ups, I'll let you have the first chance then. Alright then, mind yourself out there, safe travels. You watch as the unkempt man, as he steps back into the alehouse room and swiftly swallowed up by the boisterous throng. There's the Adventures of the Braggart's Tale. Okay. Well, let's go and mix things. Well, met again, Alison. What can I do for you? Have a conversation. I haven't had anything new come my way of late. But back in a week or two and see if a lot's changed for the better now. I was expecting you, Alison. There you are. Okay, let's go to Doom's Hall. The alehouse door is locked and this is the establishment has been open for business for quite some time. Okay. Visit the marketplace. Search for useful items. Sell your items here. Wow! It's worth 10,000. I don't ever use this, so I might as well sell it. Okay, up. And continue exploring. Inches here. Mazrill's cellar. Move elsewhere. Into the tunnels. Oh, there's a woman who's watching me. The young woman, clad in a tattered array of colourful grimy rags, looks up as you draw near, her weary gaze and hardened demeanour betraying a rugged existence on the fringes of society. You can gulp if such a thing suits you, she snaps, doing her best to straighten her soiled tie. But a cursed man I'd had a full wit to call upon. Cannot be to do straight if you can't think straight. Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, does it? You know that it does. It's because more agitated you're about to begin backing away when she suddenly fumbles in her pocket and pleads for you to wait. Just a moment if you'll allow me, she says to one of you. It's something I've been saving for you, I think. Ah, here's a lucky one for today. Okay. The young woman pushes back her thick matted locks of black hair, draws from her pocket a small jagged shard of green stone. Take it, she says, handing you the piece. Round the edges, though, they bite. Yes, it's yours. And when you have them all, you will again fly and show the way. Oh, and to even think of that day, I can't keep my mind straight, you see. It's all very absurd and ending. That's the woman, her name, but she shakes her head in the pain expression patterns of a grim, grime-streaked face. The curse forbids me, said a voice by the bubbles, and keep the stone out of others. You'll have them all, but not just yet. Unless I'm utterly mad before this is all over, you'll have them all. Then I'll be free. I'll be me. No, I'll be mad beyond a measure. Don't you see? You must see, do you? She turns to hasten away, but looks back at you, a faint smile playing on her lips. I won't remember you, but do you best remember me? So if we meet again, I want to say, long live our blessed king. With that, she dashes off along the street and quickly passes out of sight. Puzzled by the strange encounter, you glance briefly at the small, jagged shard of green stone before slipping it into your pocket. As you prepare to set off on your way, your thoughts return to the ragged young woman in a strange, somewhat cryptic babble, and wonder if you'll ever again cross paths with her. Probably not. Yes, some tunnels. Alright, let's go north. Let's go to Tarnished Key. There's a long abandoned tavern at the end of the rubbish-strewn lane in Trithik's north end. Now serves as a sort of refuge from the city's downtrodden. It is rumoured that Thane Pyron has given the order that those taking shelter in the tavern are not to be harassed by the city guard, provided the dilapidated structure does not become a den of repute. Make your way about the building's decayed interior, you find yourself tired of countless stairs from dozen lost souls lounging and left in a half gleam. After completing a disquieted trek through the tavern's first floor, not daring to climb the rickety steps leading to the second story, you make your way back outside, thankful to the exit of the grim confines occupied those whose distressing lots in life were grave to have avoided. Alright, let's go to the gambling hall. Resting in the seedy heart of Trithik's most irreparable districts, the majestic Russell Grove seems oddly out of place. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm looking for this guy I'm supposed to be finding here. The turreted towers atop which fly an abundance of long, multicolored banners reach heights that dwarf the many buildings that surround the notorious gambling hall. There is usually a crowd waiting to enter the hall, where gold flows as freely as wine and ale is readily served. And ale it readily serves its patrons. A set of massive wooden doors, guarded by no less than a dozen fully armed men, serves a public interest in the Russell Goose. When the guards inform you that the gambling hall is currently closed, you learn that a gruesome murder has recently taken place inside the hall, and that Thane Pyron has ordered this establishment closed while the matter is being investigated. Oh man. Oh, we can't go to leave a lot, because we be set upon by now evil people. Once the domain of the notoriously vicious rogue named Detherrin, along there, the end is, as it's known locally, remains a beautiful reminder of Trithik's violent, shadowy underbelly. The twisting, rubbish-strewn streets that make of the unsavory section of the river port are commonly avoided by most law-abiding folk, including most of the city's guardsmen. Efforts by Thane Pyron and some of the more elite mercenary units have helped to stem the tide of theft and murder that frequently spill out at the end. Let's go to the tavern. As you approach Owl Nook, you spot two men on the opposite of the lane watching you closely. The moment your gaze falls upon the pair, however, they turn and retreat out of sight along the street. With a storied history that includes having twice been burned to the ground, the seedy but recently renovated Owl Nook Tavern stands as a symbol for most of what has long plagued Detherrin's Inn. A sizable crowd fills the common in the middle hours. After violations of Trithik's enforced curfew, where brawls, theft, occasional murder serve to keep the patrons of Owl Nook on their toes. In here you come to know that members of the band of thieves, some believe them to be connected with the night whispers of Ravenly, have set up shop, seemingly in cahoots with the tavern's proprietor, with thieves operating a thriving and not altogether secret fencing operation. All indications are that some of the best quality items can be obtained in the Owl Nook. You make several inquiries among the unsavory elements lingering about the edges of the common room, and are swiftly led into the back room, where you're met by a young dark-haired man. The young man does not introduce himself and does not ask your name. Two adventure tokens in your service we go. There's no promises of what we can fetch for price, mine, but know that they're the best you'll find anywhere, and the price to obtain our services might soon be on the rise. No, I'm good. Let's go east. Somewhere in the city you'll find the person named Detherrin and shed some light on the strange circumstances that have brought you here. Not so far. Man, I'm not seeing this guy. Okay. After a somewhat lengthy trek, you happen upon what you seek, the shop of Detherrin and Matmick. What? Guided by the advice and direction of several friendly townsfolk, you find your way to the shop of Detherrin and Matmick in and out of the way corner in the eastern quarter of the city. When you first set foot inside the small but well-ordered shop, it appears to be empty. Suddenly, a ragged gasp from the small room at the back startles you. Before you even start to move in that direction, a grey-haired man steps into view and greets you with a quick nod and an unsteady wave. As the man steps closer and raises his eyes to meet your stare, your heart skips a beat. The ashen pale of his countenance, the hollow mist behind his weary gaze mirrors the haunting look you met this only a few days ago on the face of Brildwin in the Goblin Claw Inn. He opens his mouth as if to speak. Suddenly he stumbles forward, you rush forward and take hold of him, keeping him on his feet, allowing him a chance to regain his balance. The grey-haired man thanks you as he leans against the table in the middle of the room and steadies himself. You introduce yourself to the mapmaker, and his eyes are wide upon hearing your name. He tells you that his name is Detherrin, and he has had a rather trying day and an exceedingly unfortunate stroke of luck. You pause quickly as he tells you that he was attacked by a cloudburst snake only a few minutes ago. With the very mention of a snake opens an entirely new set of dark possibilities in regard to the business you soon have found yourself embroiled in. You are certain that the encounters that Bildwin and Detherrin have had are with the rare and deadly reptiles are the act of attempted murder, sinister, calculated measure killed by a sophisticated enemy, an enemy like the Corund. There aren't many who will run this way when out of you and your ventures, Allison, he says, seemingly forgetting the gravity of the situation for the moment. You've made quite a name for yourself in these parts. You nod politely, acknowledging his expressed sentiment, and then quickly asks the mapmaker if he's recently had visitors to his shop. He tells you that he has 2 men, perhaps an hour ago, he says, his body trembling slightly. They asked me about a recent discovery I made. In fact, it's a culmination of nearly a decade of research and study. I had intimated this discovery to only a handful of close associates, though I've seen since learned that danger inherent in such eagerness. The discovery is something I'm certain would be of great interest to one with your adventurous spirit. It's a location along lost ruins of Taramir. Kneeling at the table and listening to a room, Detherrin tells you that only a short while ago 2 men entered his shop seeking the location of the ruins. A very uneasy feeling I had about them too, he says, exhaling sharply and momentarily placing his hand across his chest. They used the name of an associate of mine, a fellow man of maps who tours on the other side of the city, mostly working for the Thane. I very much doubted their story, of course, for he is quite well regarded within these walls, and one need not know him to know of him. He learned that the 2 men told Detherrin that they were eager to examine the ruins of an ancient temple for the purpose of historical research. Looking back on it, it's certainly foolish to show them the location. You showed. But although they showed no aggression towards me, something inexplicably told me that a dire consequence would follow any refusal. Back of my head, I still have told that my associate had slipped in my way, though I realized now for certain that this could not be the case. Nothing tells you that soon after the pair left, the full knowledge of the location of the long-hidden ruins of Taramir he began to deeply regret parting the ancient lore which he had so long and diligently hunted. He immediately decided to sit down and ask his associate if he had been decent to mentor him, but it was then, in the back room of the shop, that he encountered a deadly cloudburst. While I cursed my ill fortune after being caught by the snake's breath, I never saw the possibility connection between 2 men who had already recently left my company appearance of the venomous creature. It was now only too plain that they were connected, and men sought to make sense of that till no one else about the location of the ruins. Detherrin suddenly seized by a violent fit of coughing in the wake of what seems both weaker and paler. He steadies himself against the edge of the scroll-filled shelf and takes several deep, ragged breaths. You realize the powerful venom of cloudburst is coming to wreak havoc in his body. Restoration. Though you see no visible change in his glorious pallor, you feel as if your magical healing powers have begun to slowly combat the venom that still courses the maker's body. He thanks you for your valiant effort on his behalf. With the pale of his face becoming paler and his breathing growing somewhat more ragged, Detherrin retrieves a map of the hot hills of southwest Tisa and shows the location of the ruins of Terramere. I warn you that you need to take care should you venture that way. I know only of 2 men who visited me. And of course, it's likely they are Confederates. Something is not right with this. They set foot in Terramere for a reason I cannot guess. Gazing down at the map spreading out from Detherrin, and taking note of the location beneath his finger, a thick swath of forest on the northeast edge of the hot hills. It is there, in the midst of the tanglewood, according to the mapmaker, you find the ruins. Now, from the legend of Terramere knows that it is hidden from the outside world and protected by a powerful void of magic, made invisible. You must kneel before the great wooden face for a circle of the temple. Are you familiar with the legend of Terramere and great wooden face? Detherrin has mentioned you to Space Land that he does not know of its precise location. He assures you, however, that it must be near the ruins of the legend is to prove it all true. You thank the mapmaker after making sentences comfortable and fetching the appeal to sea after you set out on your way eager to leave Trithik and return to South. White Glen, where the strange business began. As you make your way to the city gates, you quietly pray for the full and speedy recovery of both Detherrin and the Bitter One. Hey, got it. Well, that's the end. We finally were able to find this thing. So I'm going to end it there. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching with me. Until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Peace. Peace, 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 peace.